Very good.
So Deepak, I wanted to ask you, so we trained on mud several days and we trained on mat a couple of times. So why are the wrestlers doing both?
Why the wrestler doing both? Let me tell you one thing. It all starts from the mud pit, or the soil wrestling, or the mud wrestling. Since hundreds of years, thousands of years, we have mud akhadas all over India, and we have wrestling competition called dangals. So many people come to watch dangal, and along with them children comes, and when they watch wrestler fighting, and those who are good, they get, people like them, people want to be like them, and children wanted to be like them, so they come to the akhada and join. So this is how it starts. This is how a wrestler joins. Like me also, one day I watched a wrestling match, and I went to the guru and I asked him, I want to be a wrestler, and he says, you are welcome, it's free, you can come and learn.
How old were you?
I was like 7-year-old. So wrestling, the Kushti wrestling, is the basic primary level, and then there is mat. Okay, mat wrestling is it is authorized by Government of India, is promoted by Government of India. We have separate sports ministry, that's called Ministry of Sports. So Ministry of Sports acknowledges mat wrestling only. It doesn't acknowledge the Kushti wrestling. And for me, I think Kushti wrestling is a separate sport, other than, and mat wrestling is another sport. There are some similarities and lot of differences in both these games.
And the Ministry of Sport manages the mat wrestling because of the Olympics, basically, right?
Yeah, we are far behind from many countries, in Olympic sports, and we have very few medals, and that is why the emphasis is given on Olympic sports in India, and government is expending huge amount of money on sports.
On Olympic sports.
On Olympic sports, and they have it rather discourages Kushti wrestling. But on the other hand, Kushti wrestling is on the rise. Even after Government of India doesn't promote it, Kushti wrestling is on the rise, and this is the basic difference. Because in Kushti the rules are simpler, or there is only one rule. You have to pin your opponent, and as soon as your opponent's back, both the shoulder blade touches the ground, this is a pin. So for a commoner who has come to watch wrestling, it is very easy for him to understand who is going to win, who has won or who has lost. And there are rules, in mat wrestling, and they have some mathematical rules. They have different rounds, and they have a very short time, like 6 minutes in Olympic wrestling, and they have points, and then they have divided it into further complexities, like caution points, warnings, and like inactivity period, passivity, and then there are zones, home zone and this zone, passivity zone, and then awarding the points. They are, if I have been all over to India, and big wrestling schools, even in big wrestling school, many wrestlers doesn't know how they award points, and sometimes the referees make it a joke. We see on YouTube, somebody has scored a point, but the referees are giving it to another wrestler, because they even don't know how to award points. So it has become a very difficult game on the, if you see as a common man. And the main difference about Kushti wrestling and mat wrestling is that mat wrestling, Kushti wrestling is you need a lot of stamina. You have to fight long. There is no break. So the big matches, like matches for 30, they go on for 30 minutes or sometimes 50 minutes, and you have to fight for the 50 minutes. And you can grab the costume wrestler is wearing, and you can use any technique. This is freestyle like in mat wrestling, but grabbing is also allowed. In mat wrestling you cannot grab a costume. And when you comes on mat, you are a big wrestler. When they come on mud, it is very difficult, because on the mat these big wrestlers spend only 6 minutes, but when they come on mud they spend 30 minutes. So for them, they have to win a prize, their honor is at stake, their guru's honor is at stake. So they continuously fight. They keep on fighting, keep on fighting, keep on fighting, and it gives the viewers a good entertainment.
So, I'm sorry, which one gives the viewers a good entertainment? You mean the mat or the mud?
Because of its simple rules.
Okay.
And continuous fighting, and for a long time, the Kushti wrestling gives a good entertainment.
Okay.
And that is why.
Good.
And that is why I have seen many people who come to watch wrestling. And when I go to mat wrestling competition, even there at a national level, I see very few people, and those who come, they are either from the wrestlers' families, the participants' families, or wrestling enthusiasts who knows wrestling very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found in all my research, I found that most traditional wrestling forms around the world, of course traditional wrestling exists in essentially every culture in the world. Most traditional wrestling forms, the rule is very simple, and the win is either you throw the man down.
Yeah.
That's the most basic one, is you throw the man down, you win.
Yeah.
The little bit more complex, you throw the man, but he has to land on his back,
Yeah.
which is like Kushti wrestling,
Yeah.
and also like judo. And then a little bit more complicated might be the best 3 out of 5 wins.
Yeah.
And that's usually what, you go anywhere in the world, and that's what their traditional wrestling generally looks like. Even Chinese wrestling looks like that, and Cambodian and whatnot. And then, you know, when you get to modern Olympic wrestling, this is like the pinnacle, the highest level of development.
Yeah.
And it's so complicated that people can't enjoy it if they don't know anything about wrestling. And also that if we go back in time, one of the reasons why Chinese wrestling, the win is just throw the guy down, is because they used to fight in the fairs, and all the people were standing at the same level as the wrestler. So if they went to the ground and started fighting, nobody could see them. There were no cameras and playback and all that at that time. And so when I came to India and then I see the dangals, it's the same thing. It's outdoors. The people are at the same level. You know, it's not on a stage, or the people are not in a stadium. They're all at the same level as the wrestlers. And so I think it's very difficult to see. But when the guy gets thrown, okay, you can see that. And but if they're fighting on the ground, you know, you can't see that. So this seems to be a common feature of traditional wrestling around the world. Now, another point you brought out is really interesting, which you said that nobody comes to watch the Olympic style wrestling or the mat wrestling.
This is
And even in the U.S., wrestling is the 8th most popular sport for boys at the scholastic level, and there are 250,000 wrestlers in the United States, and even in, like my home, Long Island, there's something like 11,000 wrestlers on Long Island out of a population of 2 million people. So wrestling is very popular. Still, when they have the wrestling competition, probably 7 or 8 people turn up to watch. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but the families of the wrestlers only. Whereas when you go to the dangal here in India, everybody's there. And you told me some dangals might have up to 100,000.
100,000, more than 100,000.
100,000. I can't even imagine they can even see what's going on, but they're just happy to be there.
Yeah.
One, two, 3, 4.